Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The golden girl in Bachelorette Joan Vassos is being candid about her decision to offer Keith Gordon a rose on first impression. She undoubtedly had a huge selection of excellent men. What, then, led her to select him over all others? See what Joan had to say by continuing to read. The golden girl in Bachelorette Joan Vassos gave Keith her first rose. The golden girl in Bachelorette Joan Vassos is truly fortunate. She may choose from so many cute men. Fans of The Bachelor are aware that, regrettably, only one fortunate man can receive the first impression rose. Admirers witnessed Joan give Keith Gordon her first impression. Even so, they planted a kiss. Why, therefore, did she pick him over everyone else? She shared the inside scoop with Bachelor Nation in a conversation. In summary, Joan mentioned that she selected Keith due to the way he made her feel. She continued by praising Keith's entrance. His vehicle of choice was an ancient station wagon with luggage strapped to the roof. She was captivated by the entryway, even though it brought back memories of her own youth. Joan recalled conversing with Keith while they sat on the car's hood. She was at ease right then, and the talk flowed easily. I recall that as our time was running out, it was time for the next car to pull in, she recalled. Let's just get out of here, he said. Let's head to the beach, take a blanket, and enjoy some wine and cheese. And I thought, that's exactly what I want to do. Right now, that would feel really nice. And then I got to talk to him inside and just kept getting a feeling of comfort and being safe, and he's just like this big teddy bear kind of guy, Joan added in her explanation. Therefore, it had much more to do with how I felt about him than with his stylish entrance. He made me feel secure and at ease, so I handed him the rose. It appears that many viewers share Joan Vassos' admiration for Keith Gordon. Keith is 62 years old and from San Jose, California. Being a single father, he is eager to find a life partner. On the first night, he left quite an impression. How much longer will he stay here? To discover out, fans will have to check in on Wednesday nights. As soon as viewers of Single Person Nation tuned in for the first episode of Splendid Unfastened Female, they were treated to Joan Vassos' introduction to her 24 partners for the upcoming season. One person in particular really drew her attention. When Keith Gordon revved his engine and gave a splendid vintage entrance, she had a major shock. But who is this giant teddy bear that has Joan spellbound? Joan Vassos receives a major startling. Undoubtedly, it's subtle the best way to make a strong first impression after typically seeing lone cops, unattached women, and surprisingly a magnificent single man. In any case, Keith Gordon managed to be indispensable during the presentation season of the Splendid Unfastened Female. Even though he weighs 240 pounds and is 6 feet 5 inches tall, he is able to navigate. Observers hear a car pulling up from the darkness, and when it does, the full brilliance of a station truck is shown. It has a large chest on top of it with a few packs connected to it. "Greetings," he says calmly as he opens the window and speaks with Joan Vassos. He had untold numbers of lone officers scrutinizing his appearance. Essentially, Joan chose him as the first impression rose winner because he comforted her despite laying out a massive association. She claimed he helped her remember a special teddy bear. "Exactly when you got out. This resembles extremely startling to me. This journey is disturbing. You just energized me." She also says to him, "You just had this soothing voice. And you're actually kind of like this giant teddy bear kind of person. I'm not sure, but it seemed better to me. It seemed quite simple." She also liked that he mentioned wafers and cheese, and how they would pile up for a day at the beach. Having a capable of safety has been annoying, to be honest, ever after her life mate, Joan Vassos, passed away. This tall, lovable guy named Keith Gordon is fascinating. He really does have a gigantic person to oblige his body. He claims that he becomes amplified forever, and is, obviously. In addition, he leads from the heart and is perceptive to others. He certainly makes a splash at parties, but he's living life to the fullest as the single father of 3 beautiful ladies. Following the gathering of Joan Vassos, Keith talks about taking the challenge of raising his young women over the course of continuing years when he detached from his ex, due to impulse being in the family in an admissions stall interview. Max and Mary Jane Gordon, Keith's parents, are based in Columbus, California, while he and his young ladies are in San Jose. Ryan, Annika, and Ella, 3 stunning young women, are his entire universe. He was so sure that he wouldn't put his job on the application. Considering all of this, he said, "Young woman father," without hesitation. Still, his belief is convincing. He declares that he values his life on Instagram stories. He also exhorts others to enjoy their lives without reservation, since it is incredibly powerful to have that kind of energy. Joan Vassos and Keith Gordon provide family-friendly energy. Furthermore, Keith Gordon is a family man, much like Joan Vassos, as evidenced by his Instagram account. He enjoys spending time on the internet with all 3 of his girls since he loves them so much. He even seems to be endorsing Annika, his most cherished focus young lady, with whom he recently attended a Chapel Roan show. And he's all about daddy young lady dating nights. It's clear he wants the best for his young ladies. Furthermore, he incorporates a lot of get-togethers and pool parties. How does Keith Gordon make a living wage? Fans can't help but wonder how Keith Gordon makes a good living, as the splendid unfastened female describes him as a young woman father on his show after watching Joan Vassos. Certainly, he is generally content to keep that position. Keith, nevertheless, has a long-term certification from Purdue University in logical tests in substance planning. He worked for Molex for more than 14 years, first as a business subject matter expert and then as a regional foreman, which led to accepting his declaration. Then, Keith took over the operations at Finisar for almost 4 years, beginning in a similar role as a captain of the Commonplace Group and eventually rising to the position of head of arrangements for North America. Although he has experience in several fields, he is currently the supervisor of arrangements for optic things at Amphenol ICC. He enjoys clowning around a lot, even if his big and in-charge persona helps him in the calling of arrangements. In actuality, Joan Vassos is quite interested in that, since it may become necessary to demonstrate how development does not adequately capture the personal fulfillment that individuals can have. In his bio, Keith describes himself as the leader of cornhole or PAX, and places a high value on movement and golf. He plays honestly and takes his cornhole seriously. He also loses out on the chance to smoke food and drink with his friends at the neighborhood Brief Daddy's barbecue joint. According to his description, when Keith gives in to someone, he gets ardent and starts thinking Joan might be the right person for him. How would you characterize Keith Gordon? Is it amazing how much he stood out? Did you notice the point in witnessing the chief splendid solitary wolfess Joan Vassos make her most notable moves? Please leave a remark below.